What is up, guys? Hey, today we're going to connect Bubble and Xano. And here's what's really cool. I like using Xano as a database. Bubble has a database, right? However, we could use Xano as a database if you ever need HIPAA compliance or anything like that. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is use Xano as our database and Bubble as our UI, user interface, everything like that. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys real fast how I connected it in a recent project that I'm working on, and you guys can see the behind the scenes. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and if you have any questions, drop them below, right? And we're going to share my screen. Here we go. And first, we're going to start over in Xano. Okay, so this is Xano. In here, we have our ability with our databases. We have our user database. Okay, and you can see our user database has basically some data I've already kind of set up in here. This has our database where we actually have our user email, password, and these are just kind of our test accounts right now. Okay, so this has some usernames, passwords, all of this stuff in here, and we're able to, we want to connect to this database inside Bubble. All right, so if we go into Bubble, in Bubble has something called the plugins, and we have something called the API connector. Basically, we'll go into here and we could expand this and we could set up an API call to Xano. Okay, so we'll set up an API call. I've set up a couple. One, I have sign up, I have login. Okay, so if I hit expand on the sign up, you can see that we actually have a sign up with this process. Okay, so I set up my sign up here, and if I go into Xano, we have our APIs, and I could actually set up my, let me see right here, right? We'll click on our APIs. As soon as this thing loads, what is this? Right, we have our APIs. All right, I can click APIs here. Interesting. The API, there we go. Okay, so the API loaded, and we could go to our authentication, and you see we have authentication for the user. We have login and we have sign up. So if I click on sign up, here's what's really cool is if we have on this little document where it says Swagger documentation, I could actually go to the authentication and it says sign up. Okay, so this is the actual information that we need to sign up. And if I hit try out, you can see here's the information that I need. And if I hit execute, this will give us what's called a curl command. Okay, so you guys see how this is a curl command. So I'm going to copy this curl command and I'm going to go into Bubble. And here you could do what's called import another call from curl. And I'm just going to import that call. And I'm just going to hit import. Right, and now that just imported our entire thing, what I'm going to do is I can name this and I could call sign up, and it says use as, and I'm going to say action. I'm going to say sign up to because I already have one called sign up, right? And so I'm going to use as action, and if I call this, this account already exists, right? Because I already have this little test one. I'm going to hit name user. I'm going to just hit user 2, okay? And I'm going to initialize this call, and it returns an auth token, okay? Do you guys see this auth token? Well, this auth token is basically what you need, right? So if I show this authorization token right here, okay, this authorization token is what you need to be able to call what's called the get request, okay? So this get request gets the record for belonging to the authentication, okay? So if I hit try out, you see this little lock right here? I could try out and I could pass this value and I could hit authorize and I could hit execute. Well, what this did, it just gave us another curl command and it returned the information for that user. So I'm going to copy this curl command for the get one also, just like I did with to log in and create an account. And I'm going to go over here, import another call from curl, and I'm going to paste and I'm going to import. And here's what that's going to do. This is going to say get user. All right, and watch what this does. Basically, I'm going to put get user 2, okay, because I already set this one up. On this one, I'm going to have as data because we're going to use it in the behind the scenes. And you can see right here how it says authorization, and then we have our authorization key. Well, I'm going to initialize, and you can see right now it just got our user. All right, so we just connected Bubble to Xano inside our APIs, and I'm going to hit save. Well, now watch what I did. If I go into workflows, and here's our design, I'm going to go into our sign up page. Okay, so this is create your account, and I actually built this form in Bubble. Okay, so I built this form, made it look nice in Bubble, super cool. Okay, and I built this form, and now you hear it says create account. Well, I could hit edit workflow. Well, watch what I do now is inside step 1, instead of signing up to Bubble and having it where it goes into Bubble's database, I actually have it sign up to Xano, and I call that API. All right, so now I pass in the information, the name, email, and password into Xano. That goes into here, right? So you can see if I want to pass in that information, let's just say I want to pass in that string. I could make it name, right? And then that makes it where we could pass in that variable down here, okay? So inside the workflow here, I have it where it passes in that information. And then this is already calling my sign up that I set up a little while ago. And then it makes the change to current user. Here's what's cool is the current user is like the current user's session. So like whoever's using that computer right now, right? So what's really cool is this almost temporary saves the authentication. So that's what I do is on step 1, I have it sign up. Step 2 is I have it save in the database, even though Bubble, I'm not using Bubble's database. I created a data record for inside data. If I go into user, I created a record inside my user inside Bubble called auth key. Okay. And then inside my step 2, I am going to save that data from step 1. So I go result from step 1, Xano sign up, and then I'm getting the auth token that it returns. All right. And then I'm returning it. And then I'm going to the next page. All right. So here's what's really cool is I'm going to the next page inside my app. And you can see I am sending that data over. Okay, I actually don't need to send that data. I'm just going it. But here's what's cool is it actually has the change user. It's actually going to keep that data inside here. So what I do is now we go to page agency dashboard. So I click here, page agency dashboard, which is the page I set up. This is the inside of my software. All right, so I actually want the user to be able to see the inside of the software here. So what I did in the workflows is you can see inside here, I say when. I set up a when. So if you click here, you could set up a when something happens. And I basically said when condition is true. Okay, so here we have when user authentication key is empty, right? Then we kick them back up to the sign up page, right? So if the key is empty, we kick them out. If it's not empty, we call the Xano the get record, and we pass in that user authentication key. We make the changes to the user because now we can actually make all the changes and save all the data that we need to that user. And you can see I'm saving the first name, the API keys, all of that stuff right here inside that information. And so you can see we're pulling that information. And then on the front end, you could pass that information into the code, into the front end, and display it for your user. I'm actually using HTML, and then I'm passing that user data in that HTML. So you can see right here, current user first name, and then I pass that user information in from that current user that we just saved. Okay. So hopefully that helps so you guys can connect Bubble and Xano and then pass that data into your guys' Bubble app. Love you guys. Talk soon.